Welcome to Comfy Havoc number 2. First, I'm going to Google this to make sure that I can give you a definition of this thing before I kill this mosquito or whatever the hell it is in here. Might be a fly. If you watched the last video, you'll know. What is the supernatural creature known as the Wraith? This thing has race. I did not say the rake. I said the Wraith. This is how shit goes from bad to worse. And not the Charlie Sheen movie, just in case you wonder. Okay, Supernatural Wikipedia, Monster Wikipedia fandom. Those aren't what I'm actually looking for, but we're going to check the Wikipedia because it might be closer. There is a definition of it, but see, this goes to the TV show. And I'm not trying to go to the TV show because that's not the definition that I'm looking for. I'm looking for the actual definition. The type of monster that feeds on humans. Yeah, see, that's the Supernatural TV show. No, I don't want that. Still Supernatural TV show. Go back. Go back. Wraith mythological creatures. This might be closer to what I need. Alright, this is kind of closer to what I need. So the Wraith is similar to the Grim Reaper, but they have a different Connotation. Okay, because I can't pronounce that. But anyway, they have that. The simple explanation for the Wraith is a ghost or a ghost-like image of someone once seen shortly before or after their death. Okay, so now did you know what that is? Let's see if Google has the Witch Rider. Definition of the Witch Rider. This says Witch Writer. No, asshole. Rider. R-I-D. Let's see what we got. Yeah, urban riding with the witch. Hag riding, Oxford reference. Witch riding your back. That's the son of a bitch that we need to look up. Because that's what the story is going to be. Witches riding your back. Alright. Living out of dreams isn't a pleasant thing when the witch is riding your back. Imagining being trapped in a bizarre state of semi-consciousness and being frightened and omnipressured. Or being chased and pent to by your face, a shadowy figure, unable to move and make a sound, unsure if you're awake or dreaming. This typical witch ride, and for me, it usually ends with me waking up terrified and hunting and racing, my heart hunting and racing as I gasp for every breath. That's it right there. All right. Now, this is this bullshit right here. For those unfamiliar with witch riding your back, the southern phrase is used to describe it as sleep paralysis. It's right here. You guys can't see that shit, but there it is. It's right there. Now, sleep paralysis is bullshit because if your heart stops pumping your blood, because paralysis means you're not moving, if you have sleep paralysis, everything stops. So if everything stops, you're gonna fucking die. Period. So sleep paralysis is like straight bullshit. This is the type of sleep disorder that tends to run in families. That could explain some shit. But I come from a family of vivid dreamers, both figuratively. What the fuck? There's a mosquito or a fly in here, and it has to die. Because I'm not going through this shit again. Anyway, when I was 10 or 11, I was introduced to the concept of witch riding. Well, he got in there a little bit later than I did. I'm about to tell you the stories now, so I'm going to stop reading. The concept of the witch riding your back is a particularly rough sleep enables into the grandmother's kitchen. One morning, she was one to look at me and disheveled hair in a daze looked up as the witches had been riding my back. Alright, I'm going to save that. But anyway, my time. So, let's start with the Witch Rider because this is like the most important thing. Alright, so when I was 7 years old, and I will leave names of people out for their safety or protection or whatever, I had an uncle. I was 7. My grandma lived on what was not Page Street, but it was a place next door to Mr. Skippy. I think Mr. Skippy has passed. Oh, you got to die, and it's a fly. So, this is gonna be a pain in the ass. I can just feel it. Anyway, so one night I happened to be spending the night over my grandma's house, and that specific uncle and his wife, she was sleeping right beside him when this happened. And I came down the steps one that morning, and he was talking about this damn thing riding his back. And so I'm thinking to myself, he's a liar, you fucking asshole. Because this is one of the uncles that used to make me fight all the time. So, I didn't believe him. I laughed about that shit all fucking day long. It happened to be a Sunday. We got dressed. Grandma made me go to church. We went to church at Pilgrim Baptist Church, which is like just across the street and up the block. And I went home that night. Didn't think nothing else of it. Until that motherfucker got me. Now, when you're thinking about it, it's a different ball game versus when that shit actually happens. Because when it actually happens, you're like, whew, you're scared as fuck. Because you're a 7-year-old kid. This isn't supposed to happen. I knew it wasn't my uncle because he was married with his wife and they were nowhere living in their house. I knew it wasn't my mom because she was in her room. My older sister was in mine. I mean, in her room. And the baby girl, which is my younger sister that's under me, was in my mama's room in the crib. So this was before we moved to 811E Hardy Drive. So we were living at 820A at the time. Because I remember when we moved to 811E, I was between 7 and 9 years old. Anyway, irrelevant. Motherfucker. I think I missed. But anyway. Yeah, I missed. Damn. That's going to be a problem. Anyway. So, shit got to choking me. I vaguely saw something come in the room. And when you live in the projects, if a car drove down any of the streets, the glare from the lights of the cars would go through your window. And I swore I saw something, but I let it pass me by because I was like, at that time I wasn't afraid of the dark. I became afraid of the dark real quickly. So this thing, I felt it get on the bed. I got scared. And I did what all kids do. I covered up my head. And this damn thing jumped on me. Lickety split. And it got to choking the shit out of me. Now, as I got older, the attacks got less. But from 7 to like 12 or 13, this son of a bitch attacked me on a regular basis. It's like almost every fucking other day, this bitch would get me. And I would talk to people, and I was like, yo, this thing keeps riding me in my sleep. Now, for a kid to say that to an adult will look at a kid and just laugh that shit off, which most people did. I said, I don't know what the fuck it's called, but this motherfucker gets me every other fucking day. Every opportunity this bitch gets me, it gets me. Had a nightlight, son of a bitch still got me. Slept with the light on, son of a bitch still got me. If I slept on my back, if I slept on my side, if I slept on my stomach, the son of a bitch would get me. Every fucking time. Like a regular, it's like this motherfucker was enjoying this shit. And it probably was. So, I got to the age of like 14. It stopped attacking me as frequently. And then it went a few months without attacking me. And then I was 15. And it went a few more months without attacking me. Until my dad brought it back up. So I figured the damn thing had enough and left me alone. No, it did not. So my dad was calling me one night before summer got here. And we was planning for the summer. Because it was going to be my last summer with him. Because I was going to be 15. And so, because he was moving. He wasn't going to be in Smithfield anymore. So, plus the year before that, I almost died. So, because I was 14. And I would be turning 15 when this happened. So, scratch that. I was still 14, turning 15. That was the same summer that I actually almost died. Because that was the summer I almost got my ass shot by a 23-year-old. So, yeah, we're on track now. Let me clarify. I was 14, turning 15. After my 15th birthday is when the damn thing attacked me. Before my 15th birthday, when I was 14, the boyfriend who was seeing my girlfriend tried to shoot me on the street. And that's why I stopped dating black chicks. Alright, anyway, now that we're up to speed. So, My dad had told me months before, and I got to laughing at him because I think my dad was like maybe 30-something years old. And I laugh because, you're a grown ass man. You shouldn't be scared of the dark. That's some shit that us kids are. We afraid of the dark. And he's like, Jimmy, that whatever that motherfucker is, that shit is not a fucking joke. And that some bitch got me. I laughed about that shit for days. When he finally came to get me, nothing happened. Nothing happened. My birthday come along, something fucking happened. My birthday's at the end of the summer. So last week, would have been getting closer to my birthday. And on my 15th birthday, this damn thing was around. Because after I turned 15 is when it got me. So I woke up one morning because my dad woke me up to go to work. And this is in the same year that I got into the little boxing bullshit and some other shit that I was having a rough summer. Just put it that way. And this thing, somehow or another, it had never gotten me in the daytime before until that day. That was the last time I ever had to deal with this motherfucker. So let me explain the night before, because the night before is going to explain how it saved my life. So by this time, Magnum PI usually only came on Fridays, and it was still in its infancy, I guess. It might have been getting ready to go off forever or whatever. But, it was still a show. I owe Tom Selleck my life. Thank you, Tom Selleck. I also watched Lethal Weapon 2 that night. So this is how the TV show went. Lethal Weapon 2 came on first. So we didn't have cable, but whatever was showing on UHF or VHF, I think it was like Fox 35 or whatever. So I had the TV on that. When that show went off, the screen just did like the poltergeist thing. So I put it on VHS. Whichever one is the one that's at the top was the last one. I put it on Magnum PI. Magnum PI came on at 2 o'clock. Hugged my dad good night and all that shit. It's all good. Went to sleep. When I woke up, my dad was waking me up. And he told me, lock all the doors and lock him out the house and then I can go back to sleep. And I did that. And my windows were sealed with plastic. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm safe in the house. I left all the lights on. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning, and daylight hit us at 5 back then. Like in Smithfield, daylight struck at 5 o'clock. So Dad's out. He's gone to work. I'm asleep, just laying on my side, and all of a sudden, it's like something's pushing me down and grabbing my neck, and it's not on me, but I can feel it on front of the bed on me, and it's like choking the shit out of me. And you can't hear it. It can't talk to you. If it can, I didn't hear it because I was too busy trying to scream. Because I'm going to be honest, at first I thought it was my dad. I was like, this is my dad getting revenge. He's playing a prank on me. And so the words I was saying, all right, Dad, all right, I'm sorry. A grown-ass man can't be afraid of the dark. You can let me go now. And it didn't let go. That's when I knew I was in trouble. That's also when I realized, wait a fucking minute. I locked my dad out of this motherfucking house. He has no way in this house. Even if he snatches the damn screen door open and break the hooks, the deadbolt's on the front door and the back door. He has no fucking way in this house. It's me and whatever this thing is choking the fuck out of me. Now remember, I'm a martial artist. Been doing it since I was 7. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, it's that thing. It's the Witch Rider. It's got me. Fuck. So now I'm scared. I wasn't scared, but now I'm scared because I know now it's not my father. Because it just popped in my head. Jimmy, you locked your dad out the fucking house. This is not your daddy, buddy. And so then a flashback of 2 shows were in my head. The Mel Gibson Lethal Weapon 2 when they pulled the black guy off the toilet when he counted to 3 and the toilet blows up. And Magnum PI, because that night Magnum PI made the shark disappear by counting to 3. My dumb ass collectively combined both of those movies together, TV show and movie. And I told this thing what was on me choking the shit out of me. I said, I'm going to count to 3. And I'm going to fuck your shit up. And I'm going to prove that you exist before I die. So I counted to 3. I skipped 2. And I had like this big bed. This bed was big, but it wasn't bigger than a G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. But it was big. And I was under almost all the fucking blankets. And this thing was on top. But the blankets were so long that even if I took the blanket over him, it would still be enough blanket on me. And so I said 1, 3, and I came up and I was wrapped around this damn thing. And I'm fighting it and struggling, and I'm pretty sure I got it. I know I got it. and I'm tussling and tussling, and then I grabbed a piece of it, and then when I finally got my head from under the cover, it wasn't in my hand anymore. So whatever the hell it was, because I had to fight the cover, but I was still hanging on to it. So I'm trying to fight to get out of the cover, and when I got out of the fucking cover, I was not holding it with my hand anymore. So whatever the fuck it was, I touched it. Now the good news is, some bitch ain't never been back. The bad news is that some bitch is still out there somewhere. And it's a true story, and it's a scary story. And you'd have to been there to understand how freak this damn thing is when something's pushing on your neck and choking you against the bed. This shit's not fucking cool. Now, in the process of that, the reason why I told that part of the story first is because the second that I start telling you about the Wraith, you're going to be thinking, what kind of fucking summer did I have? It was not a bad summer except for those two things. So now we're going to go to the Wraith. Alright, so the Wraith, this thing. My friend Lloyd and I was in my room. We was playing G.I. Joe. I don't think we were trying to go to sleep. And we got to reading these books on vampires and supernatural stuff. And Lloyd was with us for 2 days. This was the second day. Now the first day, we might have a little went overboard because we got garlic. And garlic the fuck out of the house. My dad was not happy with us at all. He's like, this is why I wish sometimes kids couldn't read. I mean, we literally garlic the fuck out the house. We had like 3 or 4 garlics, and we garlicked the doorways, the windows. We garlicked everything. The house smelled like garlic for about like 4 days. But by then, Lloyd was long gone. So Lloyd went to use the bathroom, and I was in my room. And this thing popped his head around the corner. There was no body. There was just a fucking head. It was floating. And it looked like me, but it didn't have any eyes or any facial structure. It just was like my exact head shape. But it was floating. I'm laying in the bed. I was like, the fuck was that? And it go down the hallway, and somehow it went in the bathroom with Lloyd, and he'd scream, and it'd come back, and I'd scream, and it'd go back, and he'd scream, and it'd come back, and I'd scream. It'd go back, come back. It did this like about 5 or 6 times. About the 7th time, my dad got pissed, and he had to work that next day. So he jumped up out the bed and said, what the fuck is wrong with you boys? I told y'all stop reading them goddamn scary stories. It's like, well, somebody keep popping their head around the corner. And Lloyd said, well, it's not me because I'm still in the bathroom. Because he was doing his business. Anyway, Lloyd said, well, somebody keeps popping their head through the bathroom door. But the bathroom door is closed. Like, it's closed and it's locked. Which is why he was screaming. You're damn right, I'd be screaming too if something materialized through a bathroom door and go back. And it just kept going, and it was a floating head. So, next day, we're playing G.I. Joe. His sister comes over because Lloyd has to go home to, like, get a shower or whatever. And his grandmother's like, well, Jimmy, you can come on over. But Lloyd has to play outside. We can't take the G.I. Joes in the house. And his grandmother didn't want us to not play with the toys, but she didn't want us to not include his sister. So in including his sister, him and I both decided that we're not going to let her touch our G.I. Joes. So I took my G.I. Joes home. He put his G.I. Joes up. And we decided to play G.I. Joes. We made paper berets. And he unfortunately called Falcon, so I had to be Flint. Even though I like Flint, I love Falcon more because Falcon is like Jinx, and Jinx is my favorite G.I. Joe. Not just because she's Japanese, but Jinx was a badass. Anyway, so his sister was playing the Baroness, and she threw a pine cone. Me, forever the actor, pushed Lloyd out of the way, and then I fell. So there's a hill behind his house. It's like a mini cliff, and it goes like this, and then like that, and there's a pier. So I slipped. My arm hit the pier, and my face hit the ground. And Lloyd and his sister laughed about that shit the entire time because I went head over feet. When I slipped, I fell back like this, but my feet came over, and I totally missed the ground. I hit the pier, but only my arm hit the pier, and I landed in the tide. The tide was going out, so that's probably what saved my life because there was a river behind the house. So the tide was out. I hit my head on a rock, and when you see those movies where people's imprints be in the ground, that's just the truth. That's all you need to know. That's just the truth. So my head hit the rock. I'm like this deep. Like this whole side of my face is deep in mud. My whole front is deep in mud. I'm the only one in camouflage. And all the way down right here, there's a line. You know, my true color and all this mud's over here. So, so I get up. I shake it off. If you know what your foot feels like when it's asleep, imagine that 10 times over, but going through your whole body. Because that's how it felt. And so I got up, and they got to laughing. I was like, what's so funny? He said, have you seen your face? I was like, no. My bleeding is like, no. So I looked at my watch. My watch is still ticking. It was a Timex, so they do work. They take a licking and keep on ticking. That was not just a slogan. That shit was fact. And so I get up there, and I get to a car mirror. All of this and all of this, nothing but mud. The backside of me, clean as a whistle. This side of my face and this arm, clean as a whistle. But all of this shit over here and like all of that, nothing but mud. So I got up, I came to the house. My dad said, what the fuck happened to you? I said, I fell off the cliff. He's like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm alright though. He's like, yeah, I can see that you're alright because you're breathing. But what happened? I said, I slipped. That's all I remember. I slipped. So I had a big ass knot on my head. So I go in the house, I take a shower, change clothes. When I come back out, Lloyd has to eat, so I had to go home. So I went back home and I didn't come back out the rest of the day because I had a headache and I went the fuck to sleep. So the Wraith, that's where it started. Now, about a year or so later, I have a job at Little Caesars. So not even a year, actually about like 5 months. Because I was 15, so I was like 15 and 5 months. So December I got the job at Little Caesars. I worked at Little Caesars for almost a complete year. And by the time I turned 16, I was working at Kegler's. So at Kegler's, you see how the Spider-Man mask is right there? So just imagine this thing going, and you're washing dishes, but you can see it out of your eye. So this was my second encounter with this Wraith. So I keep seeing it. And I guess it's partly because we're part native that we get to see spirits and shit, because everybody in my family, just about, or at least one or two people, can see spiritual stuff. We don't like going around preaching that shit because no one wants to be locked up in Shady Acres. Anyway, I kept seeing this damn thing. It popped up about 4 or 5 times. And on that 5th time, I looked and I was like, okay, what does this damn thing want? Because I hadn't seen it in so long, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know if it could communicate with me. So, this thing happened 3 weekends straight. On the 3rd weekend, I almost cut off my thumb because the glass was falling, and my dumb ass, instead of like letting it fall, my reflexes kicked in and I caught it. Cut 2 tendons in my thumb. Thank you, Dr. Kenny. Dr. Kenny put my thumb back together and I didn't have to lose it, so thank you, Dr. Kenny. Now, that being said, a few years go by, I don't have to deal with this motherfucker again. And then I had to deal with it again, twice in the same building. So this is the funny part. This is the part where you all get to laugh. If you haven't walked in a grocery store, good for you. If you have worked in a grocery store, then you can relate. Especially like a small in grocery store, because I was working at Murray Steaks. It wasn't like a big in grocery store. It wasn't a Food Lion. And Food Lions have walk-ins too. I don't know how big they are. But Murphy Steaks walk-in was no bigger than this room. And so, I went in to walk in. Before I went to walk in, I know I saw that damn thing. I wasn't paying attention. Had not learned my lesson. That thing was trying to warn me that something was going to happen. So, my bitch ass, I got my ink pen. I got my clipboard. And I got to go in and start counting these boxes of fish. Now, whoever stacked the box of fish to you, that's for you. Right there. Fuck you. Fuck you. My dumbass didn't carry a jacket in the walk-in. Didn't think I needed it because it was summertime. I was 23 years old. Ain't worried about that fucking walk-in. I'm a badass. No, not a badass. I found out how to become a frozen popsicle really fucking fast. So I'm counting the boxes. Each box has a number on it. You have to write both numbers on your clipboard. So you have the inventory letter number, and you have the amount of fish inside the box. Now the fish are in bags. They are not individual bags. They're in one big ass like garbage bag looking shit. And so it should be 36 fish, excuse me, in each box, because the box has 36 on them. I have to count the boxes and write down the numbers on the boxes, and then write down 36, however many times it's on this line. So I go through the first pile. I'm just clicking them up. Thought I heard something. Didn't pay attention to it. Go to the second box on the other side. Thought I heard something. Didn't pay attention to it. Click, 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 click. So I got like 4 boxes like in on both stacks. And there's like maybe 6 or 8 stacks of these boxes. So I'm in the second row of the boxes, because the first 2 boxes are up there. It's like maybe 12 boxes on both sides. I'm not thinking they're going to fall. It's like the last thing that could ever possibly happen. Remember, I did say I heard something, but I didn't pay attention to that shit. Because I was 23, and I thought I knew every damn thing. So, I started counting the boxes. I keep hearing this damn noise. I'm not thinking about that damn thing. And remember, I did tell you before I went to walk in, I did see that fucking floating head, but I didn't pay attention to that shit. Because I've tried to excommunicate myself from a lot of spirituality shit just because I didn't want people to think I was fucking crazy. So after I got the 2 stacks on my left done, I started on the 2nd stack on my right. Again, I heard a noise. Again, I didn't pay attention to it. When I got through the 3rd stack, because I had like 3 or 4 more stacks on both sides to go. When I got to the middle, I bent down. 1, 2, 3. I heard that noise. Something said, look up. When I looked up, there was a box right in my face. Boom. Next thing I know, all the boxes, the ones in the front, the ones in the back, fell right on top of my ass. The only thing that anybody could see was my foot. I was buried in fish. Lots and lots of fucking fish. Just buried in the walk-in. And I was in there for almost an hour. No one came in to check on me for like a long fucking time. Now I'm a little guy. I don't speak really loud, and I don't know how to scream. I don't know how to holler or whatever. And oh shit was not going to do the job. Oh shit was the last thing I said before I started hollering for help. And it would, to you, you would hear this. Help! Help! To me, I'm screaming at the top of my fucking lungs. Help! Help! No one's coming. No one's coming. I'm in a t-shirt that has Murray Steaks on it. I have a wife beater on under it. It's a short sleeve shirt. I don't have a pen or a clipboard anymore. I don't know where they went. When I got hit in the face with the box, it's just gone. Because the first box hits me and I start going down, and then I look up and there's a fuck ton of boxes. All I could do is this, and all the boxes just crumbled on top of me. Just blah, 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 blah. So now I'm in there. I'm buried under box, under box, under box, under box, under box of fucking fish. Now, the blessed part is none of the fish came out of the boxes. They crumbled, but they didn't come out of the box. You know, all the bags were still intact. Everything was intact, just the boxes fell. But it was boxes of fish. And I'm in there trying to bang stuff. And you know, when you can't move, you can't move. I was buried under fucking lots of fish. I couldn't move my arms. One arm was bent over this way. One arm was bent over this way. I wasn't all the way on my back. I couldn't move my leg. This leg was like bent the most. So everything on this side was just done. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die in this fucking walk-in. James, you better start screaming like the bitch that you are. And I started hollering and screaming and hollering and screaming, and nobody came to get me. So finally, somebody noticed that I was missing. Somebody finally noticed that I was missing. He came in there, and the only thing he could say was, oh my God! And then the crew that was working, except for the front desk lady, came in and started undigging my ass out of about 15 boxes of fucking fish. 1 stack or 2 stacks didn't really fall. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't matter. But I do know no one came to get me for a long time. They got me out. They told me to go sit outside to warm up. And I sat outside and I warmed up, and I was pissed because I was hurt. But I wasn't so much hurting physically as I was mentally. So, about 4 months go by. I see that damn thing again. Still didn't learn. I learned this time because I almost cut off my fucking middle finger. So I was in the walk-in, and I opened up the boxes, slipped my finger. So I came in there and I told the boss, I said, hey, look, I done cut my damn finger and the bleeding won't stop. So the boss lady wasn't even the boss lady because Sharon was in charge, but the main boss, the district boss came in, this mean-ass black lady. So she came in, and she wouldn't let Sharon let me go for like almost an hour. I said, look, I'm going to bleed the fuck out. You know, because I'm still bleeding. It's been an hour. So then they took me to prompt care. Prompt care stitched up my tenant inside there, and then they stitched up my outside. So yeah, thank you, prompt care. After that, man, whenever I seen that thing, I have always been ready. I haven't seen it since I was 27. But nothing happened to me at 27 because this time I paid attention and I started being more careful. That being said, now you know my experiences with the Witch Rider and the Wraith. And if those are not what those are called, someone who's more into spirituality, let me know. Now, I mind you guys, I am part Cherokee, I'm part black, I'm part white. Each ethnicity does have a witchcraft phenomenon. I'm not saying my families come from witches and shit like that, so don't take that out of proportion. But druids are generally white, voodoo people are generally black, and shamans, which are Native Americans, are generally Native Americans, and Native Americans are biologically Asian. So in every culture has magic. There's not a culture that I know of that does not have magic. That being said, thank you guys for watching. This is Kung Fu Habit number 2, B, C, and U. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's a true story. That's why I'm always careful now. Super careful. Especially with spiritual shit.